good sis?
All right, baby, we're back in. Oh, dude, I forgot.
You forgot.
I forgot.
You farted?
No, this is. I want to start the show out by doing this because this is a thing that I feel very, very good about. How good is it? So just hold tight, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
I guess he's going to write down the word fargot in his new dictionary of words that are made up only by Alan.
Yeah. Is he giving us a present?
I guess so.
I hope
What's
so.
he going to give you?
I hope he gives me a
something.
happy birthday card with a $20 bill in it like he did for Laura that one year.
That would be awesome. Not signed, though. Can't do it.
No,
Can't
don't
do it.
sign it. Yeah, exactly. You got a surprise for us, Alan?
Thank you.
Is that a White Claw?
It's a pita pit.
It's a Peter Pit, mofo.
Come on, dude. Really? You guys got Pita Pit?
Yeah,
you don't
bro.
like raps.
Damn.
If you were back where you belonged, which is in Spokompton, dude, you would have been able to have a little bit of. And I got your favorite flavor, chicken Caesar, son.
You did?
Yeah, boy.
He is
Dude.
mightily spiting you
Steven,
right now, Julian.
we don't eat the whole thing, but take a bite.
This
in front of
podcast is
him.
called How Good's This,
Come on.
but I'm pissed.
Yeah, dude, I told you. How good's this, Steve? Hey, Steve, how good's this, bro?
It's going to be delicious.
Oh, it's good.
Damn,
And then you can
dude.
sync
What
the audio to
kinds
this
did you
one,
guys
too.
get?
We'll
Talk me
count
through
it
it,
down from
dude.
three.
Down for the bite? Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh
Oh,
my
my God.
God. Talk to me about the sauces you chose. What did you
That's
guys
delicious,
get?
Alan.
I need to be.
Oh, my
Come
God.
on, dude.
That's the best I've
Guys
ever had.
Yeah,
You guys are
that's
giving me
amazing.
a
So,
bone daddy, dude.
for the folks listening, when Julian was living in Spokane, which is where our studio is, they started putting in a pita pit right down the road from the studio. Pita Pit is Julian's favorite place. Literally, it would be his
Favorite restaurant.
desert island restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he could choose between again, the French Laundry, Ruth's Chris, and Pita Pit, he'd go Pita Pit 100 times out of 100.
It's his
100%.
adult Chuck E. Cheese.
I'm so
Dude,
happy that Steve's in the same room as me. That I can see
Same,
like
dude.
this is so much better.
Whatever, dude. I'm just mad at myself. I promised that myself I wouldn't talk to you until you paid me my money for wiping your dog's ass for 6 weeks. And I caved.
dude.
I caved over a simple pita.
Oh,
That's a good
God.
pita,
You had
though.
to
It's a
wipe
good pita, though.
Ricky's.
I do owe you
You had-
cash. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, wow, dude. Alan, yeah, you owe him a couple Pita Pits, dude, at least, or lifetime supply.
Yeah, dude. This last night, woke up in the middle of the night because Chunk was, you know those little door stopper things?
Is that what they're called?
I don't.
I think they're called boyoyoyoyoings.
Yeah, they're a door stopper. He was hitting it with his paw. At like 3 a.m. I'm like, oh, this is serious. Take him outside. Bro, he mud pied the whole lawn.
You don't have a lawn.
It's not a lawn. It's like a dirt patch.
He mud pied the mud pile.
He did, dude. I had to go sweep it up this morning, and I was like, "Jeez, man, what is?
Yikes, dude.
Things getting dark."
Steve,
with
you
those chunky
you
boys.
dealt with that for 4 months, huh?
No, I dealt with that luckily only for about 6 weeks.
You had to
they're
wipe
good-
the
they're good
dog's
dogs.
bum-bums?
Just Ricky, because she has that little pocket and she got to clean it out. Or she get infected.
I mean, God bless her, man, but that is what a wild thing to have to do to your dog.
She
I guess you have
pooped
to
on
do
his
it for
couch.
babies when they're born.
You do, but
Wow.
Oh, dude, how good's this morning? We've been trying to potty train Rudy, so we just like let him run around naked, because then, and he's been going peeing in the toilet.
like father, like son.
Hasn't been figuring out the pooping ritual yet.
Not yet.
Just solid log, dude, right on the stairs
Nice,
this morning.
good boy.
And he goes, "I did big poop."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you did, buddy.
Oh man,
Wow.
that's awesome.
It was quite fun.
Wow.
It was as big as an iPhone.
Rudy Duty.
He's basically a teenager now,
Is
dude.
an iphone?
Yeah,
Was it flat?
it wasn't flat. No,
Okay,
length.
good. 'cause
Length.
That would be
It wasn't good.
concerning.
You're like, jeez, man. I feel like somebody stepped on this. Jules, how are you, baby? Back in
Yeah,
the old
good,
New
man.
York dude.
Back in the New York studio, man. It's a scorching 98 degrees in
Yeah.
the shade. Real hot. Oh, yeah. In the shade. You guys know that song? UB40. I don't know if that's the truth, but
UB40.
I like that one. UB40.
I don't know that song, but it was. Yeah, let me calculate it real quick. That was 107 BPM.
Nice.
Thanks.
You did
Right
that,
on.
dude. You're like pitch perfect, but for BPMs. You're
Yeah,
BPM
no,
Metronome,
perfect.
Human metronome.
I'm a human metronome. I can't pitch. I'm worthless on. But
Is
human
that
metronome,
true?
like your heartbeat right now, it's pumping at about a 32.
Oh, that's not good.
Damn, dude.
That's not good.
I'm about
You
to
get that
die.
checked out, dude. You might have long COVID.
Jeez, dude. It's honestly so hot here, man. It's so muggy. Like I went out to dinner with my friend yesterday, and he really wanted to sit outside so that he could just like look at all the beautiful people walking by. And I could not stop sweating the entire time. I was like drenching in sweat the whole entire meal. It was absolutely terrible.
Is he bi?
What's that?
Is your friend bi?
No, he's married, but his wife was away for the weekend, so he just wanted to see beautiful people. It's so funny, man. He's just like so obvious. Just like he would just like look down, like watch them come, and I'd like see his eyes start like locking in on somebody, and then they'd pass by, and he'd just whole head would turn completely around, and he'd just like stare the whole entire. I'm like, bro, you're so obvious. He's like, I don't fucking care, man. I never get this opportunity.
2 days.
I got 2 days. Is there a chance that he was wearing sunglasses to like at
Not
least
even
hide
close,
his eye
dude.
line?
No, he didn't care, dude. He was
No
just,
sunnies.
No, son. I wish he was, but he just was more obvious.
no, he was just yeah, just pulling him
Lifts
down.
him up. Yeah. Holy shit.
No way.
That's actually
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah. No, it was he didn't have any care in the world about it. He was just looking at everybody, man. And it was so treacherously hot. I couldn't breathe, man. We were eating Mexican food too. However, check this out, dude. We were eating Mexican food, and I haven't done this in a long time, but when I was a kid, I used to get Shirley Temples whenever I would go to Mexican restaurants. And I just felt the craving for one last night. Dude, get some burritos and some Shirley Temples. There is nothing more complimentary outside of maybe like a Sierra Mist and a Pita Pit right now.
What about a pita pit and a yerba mate? Does that work? Because that's what me and Steve are loaded up with. And if you were in
that's
Spokane
okay.
like you should be, you'd be loaded up too.
I'm just
Raw
pissed that I'm
onion
not
on this,
eating.
baby.
Dude,
Raw
I
onion.
love the Pita Pits. You got a chicken C's, dude?
Chicken feed.
Chicken C's? I
Chicken
couldn't taste
C's.
it. All I can taste is yerba mate. I don't think it's a good pairing. I wouldn't wine list chicken C's with yerba mate.
No. I'm just trying to make Jules jealous. Isn't that your favorite pita pit?
The chicken Caesar? No.
Yeah.
No.
It's the
I
turkey
like
pesto, right?
I like the chicken. I don't know how to really pronounce it. Souvlaki.
Yeah. Chicken souvlaki. Mm-hmm.
That's a good one, man. It's got like ham chunks in it, dude. Chicken chunks in it. Put that hot sauce on it, baby.
Looks like he's heating up and getting sweaty again, just thinking about it.
Yeah, rum
Ham chunks.
I am, dude.
yourself
It's so
some
tasty,
rum
so
raisin.
tasty.
So
What's it like
apparently
being
there's-
back in the studio? I feel I've never seen this studio from the opposite side. It's such a cool thing to see.
I know. I'm in the big boy chair too.
Dude, it's so good.
Filling it out.
So good to have you on this side of the room.
That's nice of you
Yeah.
to say.
It's great. This is the way the setup's got to be from now on out. We're having all three of us in the same room. Once Julian gets his butt in order and gets back to Spokane so we can do some eppies over here, we're all in the same room.
Let's get a house,
make it-
Julian.
Let's make a triangle table, so we can just like all look at each other, like or just a circle table, I guess. But like so that we can all be positioned and just see each other's faces, because that's the best, man. That's really the best. Not
Definitely,
like sitting across from each other's.
Getting to look at Steve right now, I just feel so much more deeply connected to him than when he was on the other side of the room. For
Yeah.
folks listening to this, our studio is set up in a weird way where Steve was in like the cockpit, but the cockpit is like
Producer pit.
a mile and a half away from where we're at, so we could never see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the conversation was, it's essentially whoever you're able to see is who you're able to have a conversation with.
Totally.
Right.
So I love being over here too. This is super nice. I dig the vibe. I can no longer get away with taking naps during
Yeah.
or just facially just scoffing you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we felt that.
Oh, you can feel it though, right? Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was
I can only
radiating.
get up and just walk away. I guess I still can. Fuck it.
You can, but don't. So back to the souvlaki topic, Jules. Apparently, because there's shawarma
Yes.
and souvlaki,
Okay.
and they're the same exact thing, but they're from different regions.
Interesting.
Yeah, so apparently, like Greek cuisine from a specific part of the globe.
Presumably Greece.
No. It's like Grecians. What's the proper term? Is it Grecian?
Grecians?
The
that what you
ancient
call them?
Grecians.
Grecians?
Grecians. When they moved right out of Greece and started making souvlaki restaurants all over the globe, they started calling the same thing that was happening in Greece a different name. It was one or the other. It was like shawarma was what they called when they moved to.
Isn't shawarma Indian?
No, shawarma's like Greece. This.
Oh, right.
Doner.
Right. Yeah.
Doner kebab. You know.
Right.
Found that out in Australia the other day when I had a string of shows in Oz, and the only restaurant open after the show finished was like this souvlaki joint that was 24 hours.
Delicious.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Nice.
I would go
I
in
love
there and
that
have
stuff,
some
man.
Peronis after the show and just talk to the owner, this Greek guy who he filled me in on that information.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
My mom is actually in Greece right now, and I was supposed to go with her. She invited me on a Seabourn cruise, which is the company that she used to work for. And they're like these small, ultra luxury cruises that are like super, super, super nice. And she's on a 2-week cruise through the Greek islands. And she just hit us up today and said she was in like, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Akrotiri this morning.
I think you nailed it.
Which is like a 4,000-year-old city.
Wow.
And it was discovered in like 1967. And it was a matriarchal society, and all the men were enslaved, man. It was just like all run by women.
Oh my
pretty
God.
cool.
How
Yeah.
long ago would that have been? Do you know that?
4,000 years ago.
4,000 years ago when it first started. It was-
I suppose so, yeah. It's
was
a
a
4,000-year-old
matriarchal-
city is what she said. She's been hitting me up with all these like interesting facts every single day, man. Just like coming in with pictures and fun facts about Greece. I'm very sad that I'm not with her right now. It's a bummer.
Now,
Yeah.
I don't want to make light of slavery because you can't really. But if I was enslaved, being enslaved by a woman, there might be aspects of that I wouldn't mind.
You already are, dude.
I know, right? Like, it's not slavery if you ask for it,
Okay. Yeah.
right? That's like, I don't know, it's something different. Whipped.
Requested servitude.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Requested servitude. Yeah, dude,
But-
you're consenting.
So Jules, how did they? Maybe ask your mom this eventually. We might be able to fact check this on the next run. But how did they keep the men enslaved? So was it like the slave masters were women, like women on horses with whips? How did they keep the men as slaves? Because usually, like power, violence is what would typically.
No, I think manipulation, control, how the city is structured. I mean, if you looked at again, terrible thing, a slave farm, a cotton farm.
Yeah.
There's an old dude and his wife and 7 kids versus all of these in shape farmers.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
They could overtake, but structurally in society, their penalty would be worse.
Right, but there was like an enforcer typically working for those plantations, right? There was somebody on horseback with some.
But if you wanted an uprise, you could.
Right, so you're saying that like essentially a good amount of that, what was keeping those people enslaved was a mental conditioning.
Yeah, just like, what you would say, before women had the right to vote, it was just men manipulating them, thinking that they're not worthy of it. Same thing with, African Americans. It's just the people in charge are employing those rules. And then if you're raised and born into those rules, that's just how it functions, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome that women were in charge, like hyenas, the ladies in charge of the pack.
Right, yeah, lions the same.
No, lions is the man.
Yeah, I guess lion, but the women do all the hunting.
They do all the work.
They do all the work.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. That's wild.
The dude's essentially there just to father kids and fight off other dudes trying to get his ladies.
Right, like he's just the person making sure that nobody steals the lioness.
Exactly. But big to the point though. Why am I not on that fucking cruise with your mom?
Yeah,
you should have gone, man. She was looking for people to go with her, man. Then she just went by herself. That's my mom, man. She's a little badass, dude. She realized that in her new retirement, she's going to be traveling 30% of her life for from here on out
sick.
because and like mostly for free because she's been in the travel business her whole entire life. So pretty cool, man. Definitely going to try to go with her again, like probably next year.
What's the protocol? What's the current protocol for going on a cruise?
Seriously.
Like, do you have to do like a agility test or anything? I mean, I feel like
yeah, she had to run a sub 540 out here in New York.
It's in the blood.
She came out here. She came out here before she went and hung out with me for the night. And that was great. And she had to get a COVID test as basically just to like get out there and to travel internationally and then to get on the boat. But
did she have to show vaccination proof?
Yeah. But the boat is only half capacity and it only holds 450 people. And you know, Alan, because we went on a cruise before, one of those Holland America ones that we went on, which is like 2,000 people. So you can imagine like a 450 person cruise is, a quarter that size.
Is the cruise...
and it's only half capacity. So like and they're like gorgeous, man. They're like super, super like just luxury lush. I've seen pictures of them. I've never been on one. She's invited me like 3 or 4 times and I'm stupid because I haven't gone. Both my brothers have gone.
Are the cruise ships smaller or there's just less people on them?
The cruise ships are smaller. Yeah. But I think that's kind of like the idea. They want them to be smaller. They feel like almost like a gigantic chartered yacht.
They got a pool or a pond up there?
Dude, they got a pool up in that place, man. Saltwater pool.
We got a pond. But pond will be good for you. Pond will be, pool or pond, either one. One of the greatest movies of all time, without question, Caddyshack.
It's my favorite comedy of all time.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wasn't there beef? Do you know any history of the song or the movie? Between
Bill and Chevy?
Bill and Chev?
Yeah, they hated each other since SNL.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they got in. Yeah, Bill didn't stay. So they all stayed in like a big hotel that was kind of on the golf course, like while they were filming, like give or take people coming in and out when they were doing their shoots. But Bill refused to stay there because him and Chevy just hated each other. Bill's like a tough Chicago guy and Chevy's just like cocained out, larger than life personality. And Bill just hated him for it.
Wow.
So they like clashed. They got in fights at SNL, I believe, like fist fights.
Wow.
Oh my God, dude. I would pay to see that.
But that scene with them, like the Kentucky bluegrass or whatever, and they're smoking the cannonball scene, right?
Yeah.
Improv.
Oh my God.
Just like premise, go.
That'd be so hard to do that with somebody you loathed. Like working, like that might be even harder to do than like crying on set. To me personally, like to act like you like somebody when you don't, or like just be funny around somebody that you hate, which must happen.
Totally.
Like it must happen all the time on sets.
Imagine just being like such a powerhouse of a comedian and then meeting like somebody who's the exact same way. And you I imagine in both of those periods of their lives, they were like at the top of their game, right? Or is that not the case? Because that was
they were
definitely
early movie. Getting up there as far as the biggest comedians in the world.
Yeah. I imagine that would create some tension. I mean, you're just like, I'm supposed to like, aren't I number one on the call sheet? No, like who, it's just like, that would be just like battling between two like very type A personalities who are just so like it would.
I just imagine Rodney Dangerfield in the middle of them just being like, "Hey,
relax."
Yeah.
Hey, relax.
Yeah, I think like it could go. It could go one or the other ways. Like it could go amazingly and they'd be best friends, or they would be like, I fucking can't stand you.
Well, I mean, I would imagine there's plenty of gigantic comedic stars who can hang out and be fine and not be jealous of each other. I would venture to guess, just by the history of hearing about it, that Chevy Chase is probably not the easiest man to work with.
Right.
Like, from all accounts,
Like, even on Community, those guys have talked, that show Community.
Yeah,
Like,
Joel
difficult.
McHale, which is a Seattle boy who I've met a handful of times, legend of a human, who to me doesn't seem like the type of dude who would talk shit about somebody. Like,
Right.
no, like meeting Joel, he's happy-go-lucky, cool dude. I've heard him on interviews being like, yeah, Chevy's kind of rough to work with. It was like, that must take quite a bit
Yeah.
to make somebody as sweet as that.
Totally.
Because naturally, like, if you're a comedian, right? If you're Joel McHale, you're a comedian. Chevy Chase is like your idol.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, calling out an old salt like that.
yeah, like
hero.
it must take so much inertia and energy to be like, yeah, man, if I'm being honest, he's hard to work with. He's like an old battle axe, you know?
Yeah.
So, and how many great stories are there about Bill Murray, like showing up randomly and just being the coolest guy alive? Endless. We met Bill.
But-
I don't know sure if you were there, but I met Bill at that Love Rock show.
I didn't
I'm
meet him,
glad
but he
you
was.
didn't. Julian would
he
have
was there.
chest bumped him and he would have fallen off the stage.
Yeah, I wanted to, man. I wanted to, but I felt like I can't go up to him. I just can't do it. Like, what am I going to say to Bill Murray? You know, like people were going
that's
up
how
to
I
him the whole
felt.
night, and I was just like, I don't have anything good to say to this guy right now. Like, I only
just
have
be
good
like-
things to say, but I don't have anything like unique to say to this guy right now. That's I'm just gonna feel insecure and stupid, and,
Yeah, I felt
and
the
then
same.
chest bump at the end and get taken out by security.
Right.
I just wanted to touch him because it's like you don't like Bill's. How old is Bill? 70?
He's in his 70s.
He's in his 70s. Like, how many more opportunities are you going to get to touch Bill Murray?
Yeah,
Appropriately, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, it was consensual.
All right. I'll
just slap him on the butt, dude. Morgan Freeman played three little piggies on my toes when he directed me in the show Madam Secretary. That was pretty cool. I got
Wait,
to touch
That's
what?
the coolest thing I've ever
Back
fucking
up.
heard.
What?
Hold on, what?
Yeah.
God played three little piggies with your toes?
Yeah, man. He's
Situation. Morgan Freeman, the god, the man, the myth, played
Yeah.
three little piggies on your fucking jujubes
I think
toes.
there's been a few moments in my life where I have been in like professional situations around people of his stature, and I think somebody like him, as well as the other people that I've had the privilege of being in the same room of, kind of know the effect that they have on people, on especially like people in the same field as them. So like, I think he knew that although he was a director and he was being very professional, this was on an episode of the show called Madam Secretary, and I played like a Navy captain who saves my unit by like sacrificing myself and jumping off this like big Navy boat and then like pulling us to shore and then falling into the water and going into a coma and like hitting my head and hurting myself, and I go into a coma. And so basically like the early part of the scene all happens. We get into this big tsunami in the middle of the whatever ocean we're in, and then later on I'm like in a hospital bed and I'm in a coma. And so for like 6 hours that day I was just laying in a hospital bed, like hanging out, like just waiting for shots to be set up. And he was coming around kind of like giving direction. I didn't really need anything because I'm just in a coma. You don't really need to know how to act to do that. But he was so sweet, man. And like we had already kind of established a little bit of a relationship through like the week prior of having shot already. And he just came up to me, man, and like, he started playing little piggies on my toes, man. And he was just being a goofball. And I was like, in my brain, I was like, fucking Morgan Freeman's touching my toes, right? Like I am so insecure about my toes as it is. But if Morgan Freeman's touching my toes, dude, I'll let that guy like lick my toes. I don't care what he's trying to do, man. Like he's not gonna. But it was amazing, man. He played it, and and then at the end of it, I was like, man, Morgan Freeman's like, I think probably like 82 or 83 now. And he was, looking old, man. But he was getting after it, man, as a director. He was out there energized, like telling people what to do. So cool, man. Like the first day that we showed up to shoot, he was like, he put us all together for like a crew meeting, and he was just like, all right, guys, I want to let you all know that like I come from the school of Clint Eastwood's style of filmmaking, which means we do it in one take. Now, if we have to do it in a second, we'll do it, but it's not going to make me feel happy about it. And he just like sat there and looked at all of us like, got it? It's like, shit, man, like a lot of pressure in that. But at the end of the day, he was just like a sweetheart and super nice. And, you know, like what I would hope Bill Murray would be if I'd played with his toes.
How many takes did it take to do you in a coma?
Oh, dude, I kept like acting, man. I kept like flinching and trying to give some life to my coma.
He's waking up.
He's like, I'm gonna steal this scene, dude.
I just wanted to be. I just needed my. I just needed my moment, man.
Morgan, really let me go here, dude. Let me go. I'm feeling like my character needs to rise from the dead. Morgan's just like,
yeah.
I feel like jazz hands are appropriate for this scene, Morgan.
Yeah. What if I'm smoking a cigarette, Morgan?
How do you not open every conversation with that?
Seriously.
If I was at the store and they were like, "Oh, that'll be $150," you know, for your groceries, I'd be like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you about Morgan Freeman playing Three Little Piggies on my toes."
Yeah, how is that not like on like just your profile picture on every social media thing?
It's on my
like,
Tinder
Morgan
page.
Freeman played piggies.
I've never told you guys that.
You've never told me that.
Not once.
The story preceding that story is cooler than the Three Little Piggies. I mean, it's just cool. We were just talking about Bill, like touching Bill Murray, and I was like, well, Morgan Freeman touched me, so that was nice.
Morgan Freeman played Three Little Piggies on your toes. There's no story preceding it, or
dude. Morgan Freeman fired my stunt double and put me in to do my stunt, and then allowed me to do it and let me do it in my one take from his Clint Eastwood School of Filmmaking, and finished the day, wrapped the day, and came outside and gave me the biggest giant bear hug and was just like, that's how you fucking show up and be prepared. That's my boy Julian. And he gave me this fucking giant hug and he kissed me on the forehead, and that was fucking 10 times cooler.
Fuck out of here.
10 times
I thought
cooler.
he was going to just have you do your own stunt because he knew you'd suck at being in a coma, and he was just hoping those two things would coincide.
No, dude, I was standing on the side, like trying to get in and do this stunt the whole entire time. Like I was so eager to just go and like try to be impressive.
It like diving in the water?
Yeah,
well, it wasn't. It was just a parking lot out in like Astoria that they had like created this whole entire scene in. They had like water cannons and giant sprinkler systems and a boat that had been created that was on hydraulics to make it look like it was just like a rocking ship in the middle of a storm. So needless to say, like being on that boat and having that like water falling down on you and cannons shooting and then the boat moving up and down, dude, you're just like, you're so into it. And I've never like cared more about anything in my entire life than doing that small, tiny stunt that I had to do. I felt so in it, dude. I felt like the rain was coming down, dude. It was dark. Morgan Freeman's watching me behind on the monitor, and I'm just like, dude, I gotta do this so hard. I hurt myself so bad because I'm like pulling this boat back up in the rain, and I'm like screaming at my people to come, jump down, come on, let's go, get off the boat. And I'm supposed to like slip on the dock that I'm pulling the boat back into as I'm trying to, as it's rocking. And I'm just like falling. Oh, I'm grabbing the rope and I'm just like, so like in this and just like indulgent of like falling over and oh my God, and getting back up and slipping. I'm like hit my chin and like scraped it and then like broke my hip and then finally fell into the water. And it was crazy, man. I like was in a lot of pain for a couple of weeks after that shoot, but he came out, man, gave me a big giant hug and said that's what we needed.
That's so sick.
What episode is this?
We could look it up. I don't know. It was like 5 years ago.
What's the name of the show, Jules?
Madam Secretary.
Madam Secretary. Sweet.
Yeah.
Streaming on all of the available streaming
anywhere you want to see it.
Streaming where you get your streamables.
Yeah,
dude,
that was awesome, man. It was a cool moment. Definitely, yeah, one of the cooler acting moments for me. For sure.
I mean, like that. Back to the same point of why we started talking about Morgan Freeman. Like how many times are you going to interact in your lifetime with somebody like that? Like somebody who's made that big of an impact on
Totally.
not just American culture, but like the globe. I mean, I guess maybe, I don't know how popular those movies are in like Czechoslovakia.
Probably huge. I mean, not Madam Secretary, maybe, but Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
Is
you think so?
Absolutely. Shawshank.
Bro, Shawshank's great, but I think about like China. China makes up for about half of the population. Like, how popular is American culture in China? I don't know that.
I think like American culture at like the highest level of like pop culture, which is people that exist in that space are Morgan Freeman, Tom Hanks, Bill Murray, people like this, Meryl Streep, other people. They're global sensations.
Yeah, you know,
like
and
recognized
now that I'm
everywhere.
thinking of it, though, I was hearing some stat about the new Fast and the Furious 9.
Sweet.
They did.
Are you in it?
I wish. I think it did first week in the box office. It did like $190 million or something. And I'm kind of making up a number at that point, but it was over $100 million. Like 85% of it was Chinese theaters.
Well, there you go.
So they must have some sort of. It's so interesting how like I don't have any knowledge of China. Like I don't know about. You know, like I've never been to China. I've never.
You've never played out there?
I've never played there. I had a buddy who did a tour over there.
In China proper?
Yeah. Do you remember Christian Jameson?
Yes.
Yeah. So like right before we did our tour together and he opened, he did a tour, like a 12-day tour in China.
In like China proper?
China proper. Yeah. He's like, bro, it's like the most wild thing ever. He goes, there's cities, we toured in cities that I'd never even heard the name of.
Yeah.
30 million people in them.
That's crazy.
Like wildly big country that we just have no knowledge of. We're like,
cool.
okay, well, there's Beijing. We think about like Hong Kong.
I don't think Hong Kong is a part of China.
It is now technically, I think, because they've just kind of like strong-armed them and they're like,
I knew it was like a province of it or something. I don't know. I've been to Hong Kong, which is cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think originally Hong Kong was like an English settlement.
Okay.
Like I think the English kind of ran it. And then they just recently were like, okay, well, we're done like running your country. I think I'm totally butchering this.
Yeah.
But now China has like strong-armed them. That's what all those protests were happening in Hong Kong. Did you follow that at all?
No.
Yeah, there's for like 100 days in a row, there was
Like
this
not being like a sovereign state or something.
Yeah,
anymore.
they wanted to be their own thing.
Yeah.
And China was just like, yeah, no.
Interesting.
But
I'd love to go to China.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm sure my Muzz, my father-in-law, has been to China a bunch of times. He's like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Laura's parents went over there a few times because Jeff would do astrology. They would talk Chinese astrology versus American astrology.
Oh, cool.
And they fell in love with it. And that's where all the Qigong stuff came from and all that. They fell in love with China and the culture and the people. So it'd be a fun
it's
trip.
interesting, man. Like I think like just going back to the idea of like who exists like in the space, global space of recognition. You might be surprised, Alan, like how many people actually like even know you out there. Like you could probably I don't know, go out there and do some shows.
I'm trying to think about like the distribution services that my music would utilize. I don't think they're available in China. Like you can't.
Right.
They don't have YouTube. They don't have Facebook. They have a different internet.
Yeah.
It's like, so I don't know how I would get my
That's
music.
why. Is that probably why you haven't done it?
Like I just VPN'd everything while I was over there from like Korea, I think.
Okay, yeah, and it still worked.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure if people sought it out, they could find it maybe, but it's not like the algorithms on YouTube are working in my favor to like get huge in China.
Yeah, I found it
you
interesting,
have to get on
man.
like a playlist, some
Yeah,
random playlist or something.
It's so interesting how, like literally a third of the world's population is China, and the only perception I have of China is just like it's kind of negative. Like,
Really?
yeah, people, it's a communist countries, they're trying to take over the world. So they're spying on us.
It's like a global power. It's threatening to the machismo of America, I guess.
Right, but like if you think about what China has done militarily in the last, I mean, obviously I wouldn't know the ins and outs of it, but like China doesn't drop bombs. Like China's not going around being like, hey guys, we kind of need some more oil. So like, pow! Like, but yet we're, as Americans, we're like the global superpower that just goes everywhere. It's just like, hey, what do you got that we can have? Let's drop some bombs. Let's like strong arm some people and get your resources. Yeah. But yet we're like taught and told to like, no, you gotta worry about China. It's like, shouldn't we be like maybe a little bit more worried about our own government?
Well, we should be.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we're worried about China has, I heard this recently, China has one military base outside of China.
Really?
United States has 800.
Totally.
We got military bases all over the world. We've got, we're the
smallpox of the globe.
Exactly, dude. And we're like, hey, man, you better be worried about Iran.
Yeah.
Worry about, it's like, no, I think maybe we should worry about you, dude. We should worry about like the American military complex. Anyways, that's my diatribe on that. Let's go China.
Let's go to China, dude. Let's go. Speaking of gigantic countries, I found a fun fact about India recently in that they are actually banning all of their single-use plastics as of like July 1st, throughout the whole entire country, man. They actually have like I heard that they have an environmental ministry that's like setting up a task force to eliminate it all, which is like, holy fuck, dude. Like getting like it's like some serious shit, man. Like actually getting a task force to do something that doesn't seem like it's a negative thing, to like not go to war and like have to prevent something bad from happening. It's just interesting to like hear task force in the same sentence as like elimination of plastic. I thought that was super cool. How are you guys doing with your plastic usage? I'm getting pretty good because I live with Steph, so she's always keeping me up.
I mean,
I
try to recycle as much recyclable plastic as I can, but like I carry a metal straw.
I do my best to buy glass, like stuff that's in glass, or if there's like a option between glass and plastic. Or can like this. Yeah. But I'm not super disciplined in it. I could be a lot better at it. Yeah. But
what happens if it starts to be enforced out here? Like
that'd be great. I think it'd be easier for us to control if it was forced and implemented, and more options obviously are going to come from those things. Companies are going to be like, well, we can't be cheap anymore and use plastic. So the accessibility of being responsible would be easier, I think. That would be awesome.
Yeah. They were talking about how like the manufacturers out in India are like responsible for disposing of all of their plastic single-use things. So it's just not even accessible anymore, which is wild.
Well, that's what would make
interesting
it work.
Transition.
Because the convenience of it is why it's so bad. It's
ultimately cheaper too.
Yeah, well, of course.
I would be interested to see though what the environmental effects of, because like it takes some sort of combustion and energy to make plastic, right? And to like form plastic. It does the same to form glass. I wonder what those environmental effects would be. So like for a while it was like when Prius first came out, it's like, oh, you got to get it saves on gas. It's a really environmentally friendly machine. And then because of the hybrid battery that was in it, there was a debate as to whether or not, like, because of the cultivation of the Prius battery, like the car is better for the environment, but the manufacturing of the car is worse for the environment than like a diesel truck. And so I'm curious if there's research that you can find about that. Like, what does it take to make a glass bottle versus make a plastic?
Right.
What are the resources that go into that? What's the combustion that they utilize?
Totally. I mean, like, yeah, somebody told me once, like, because Steph, who I live with and who is, a sustainable living human being about everything she does, made some comment to me at one point about like utilizing tote bags instead of just using like grocery store bags that they give you. And it's just like, well, think about like all the work and labor and like water and thread and resources that go into making a tote bag. And I'm like, well, I don't know the facts on that. I'm just following what I feel like I'm supposed to follow. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like blindly just saying yes to certain things. That's like art that trend towards what sounds like progress. So I don't ever really know what I'm doing. I'm just like, all right, Steph like lives in this world, so I'm just going to listen to her and try to be better at like recycling.
The longevity of a tote bag is much better than getting 6, like go to the grocery store and they put like your milk in one bag. That's done. You know what I mean? They never want to overload. You're like, I don't need 10 bags. A tote bag will last. I have tote bags that I've had for 10 years.
Yeah,
right.
I think I've heard somebody say it, which was really made sense to me, was reuse over recycle. So like, even if you're like, I'm going to go get glass, I'm going to buy glass. Yeah. It's like, well, okay, that's still single-use glass. If there's a way for you to reuse things, it's so much better for the system.
Totally.
Same with clothing, man. Like I'm so bad when it comes to thinking of fast fashion and thinking of like, wearing pants. I'm going to wear these pants until I'm going to get pants that I can wear until I'm in 50. Like that's not me.
Wrangler jeans, boy.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that's really good to consider as well. Like things that you're able to reuse is so much better than anything. I mean, even recycling, because ultimately, like recycling to me, sometimes I get not nerd. I think it's great to do and attempt to do, but like it's kind of the same as garbage. You're just putting it in a thing, and then you're like, okay, somebody else deal with it.
Yeah.
And you hope that it's getting recycled properly.
You hope so.
Whereas reusing it, like, no, this is, I'm going to reuse this tote bag. I'm going to reuse these shoes, or I'm going to donate them,
Using this bottle from olive oil,
Exactly, dude.
Well, you just learn how to live. Like
recently, I've been getting that truffle olive oil, son.
You fancy.
I've been putting it on my
fancy lass.
Put it on my toast.
Dude, I can't wait for some avocado toast at your house when I come home, Daddy. I think I've had to learn, probably similar to how a lot of people have learned through just like, you shop at H&M because it's cheap. You eat fast food because it's convenient and cheap. And you do all these things that are like, you realize is when you grow up and get a little bit, maybe more money in your bank and just become a little bit more thoughtful about that stuff, that like, okay, I'm actually spending more money when I shop at H&M because I'm just like buying clothes that rip and having to go back and get more shit. And like everything just like tears off and breaks. And if you actually go spend $150 on a pair of pants rather than $36.99, like they're going to last you 7 years and you're going to actually like value that stuff. And so, and like that's such common sense for so many people and just was not for me for so long. When I first moved out here, Steph remembers, or not when Steph, well, it existed when I first moved out here too, but she remembers moving out here and being like, Julian only had one pair of shoes and they were just like ripped on both sides. Like his pinky toes were coming out of them. It's just like always just waiting till a pair of shoes just ripped and getting a new pair and then just wearing them out till they've ripped. And just like, every like 5 to 6 months. And it's just like, why don't you just buy a few pairs of nice shoes and keep them? It's going to like end up being better value for you as it is. You're just going to spend more now, but save more in the long run. Yeah. Well, and it sounds like common sense now, but it wasn't for me.
You have some mighty talons though, Jules.
I know.
Like I'm the same way. Steve, I would imagine you're the same way. We got some like full on feet. We don't have these like little dainty,
we're Neanderthals.
Manicured toes. We got like,
my toes aren't very aggressive. They're
not
nice.
aggressive, but I'm just saying like you got a foot. I got
a big foot. And my toes aren't that gangly.
No, you have beautiful feet. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like
mine are not
the
beautiful.
Listeners to know.
Well, Jules, you have a good looking foot too, but it's just like it's a foot.
No, I don't.
His foot's been touched by God.
Good.
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking
Yeah.
about it. Morgan Freeman's just trying to harness some of your power. That's why he was touching your toes.
I haven't washed these toes since that moment. So
Yeah, that's why I had
watch
holes in your
yourself.
shoes, right? Just in case you run into Morgan again.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny with that, like considering all things, right? Recycling, reusing, being conscious, taking care of your being. Like, if you did everything you needed to do to like be centered and exist well, you would need a 48-hour day. Like, I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to work out, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to eat, I'm going to grow food, I'm going to water the food, I'm going to take care of my house, I'm going to take care of my kids, I'm going to like, the reason why some stuff just kind of like naturally go, like we can't consider it, is because there's so many things. Now in like 2021, it's like, well, you got to meditate for a half. I'm like, who the fuck has time to meditate for a half an hour, dude?
Well, the
Gotta make that
Chinese monks
time.
do.
Yeah, Chinese monks.
We're going to be monks.
I don't know if it's just a reflection of like the capitalist system or just what we've been taught to appreciate in America, or if it's just like I naturally have a tendency towards I need to grow, I need things to be bigger, I need whatever it is. It's like there's not enough time for me personally. I never feel like there's enough time for me to consider everything that I should be considering. It's like I'm just like, okay, well, I feel like I'm running at 1,000 miles an hour constantly.
Yeah, man. You and I have like definitely been conditioned, especially you and I. Like Steve is better at tempering that for himself, but we're just a product of that world, man, where we just think we like, in order to like be, in order to like earn a like rest, we have to work our asses off to earn it, rather than just like meditating for the purpose because it's good for us. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like I gotta do more. I mean, I'm probably even worse than you are. So,
well, I don't know if you're worse than me. I think that we both have a tendency towards that. Me is just like I just want to, like I have so many things that I want to accomplish. Like and I guess that list never ends. I think maybe the more things you accomplish, the more things those things turn into.
Totally.
If that makes sense. It's like, okay, I want to accomplish like owning a house. Okay, so I owned a house. Like I have a house now. Well, owning a house just brings all of you got to keep up the lawn, and you got to keep up the roof, and you got to keep up the water, and like, so the amount of time and effort it takes to own a house, then you're like, you multiply that time and effort by, you're not just like paying for the house and making sure the bills are paid, but also all of the energy it takes to keep it going.
Yeah, maintain.
totally.
Maintain. Same with like running a business. You're like, God, and I think about this a lot. Like, I don't know if I could ever work for anybody else. And so naturally I'm inclined to like work for myself.
Yeah.
And when you do that and you get a business that is actually making money and generating income, it just opens up this swath of this is how many more things you're going to have to keep going. So how many more balls you're going to have to keep up in the air, man.
Lots of balls.
So many balls.
Biggie Smalls said it, dude. Mo money, mo problems.
Dude, Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, man, it's true. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but I feel like the more, it's not even money necessarily. It's just like, yeah, like what you're saying, the more like experience you have, the more things that you can accomplish, the farther that you can get along. It just like sets that bar for you. And then you're not trying to go backwards. So you're trying to move forward from where that bar is set. And then you're just like, okay, it becomes harder, you know? So it's just like, okay, like the idea that I have been riddled with for a long time is that like, okay, if I get this, then that. And it's just not true. It's like I get something, I accomplish something, and then it just like, it's like getting to a place on the mountain that you like climbed up to, and then realizing that like, oh shit, like the climb is actually changing now. Like I am in better shape now from climbing and getting to this point and I feel pretty good about myself. But in order to get up this next thing, like I actually have to like work out a certain different type of way. And like, I'm carrying a new backpack full of like even heavier weight. And this is going to be even harder. So it's just like, it always happens that way until you start to figure out balance, I suppose. What even is balance?
You just, I don't know. Like my tendency is to be like, or you just have like a bunch more resources, and therefore for me personally, it's like the reason why I have to worry about whatever. I stained my fence the other day. It had been like half of my fence had been unstained for like since I built it, and I finally was just like, I'm gonna get out there and stain it myself. My natural tendency is to be like, if you have more resources, you can just be like, hey, Carl, you come over and stain my fence, right?
Never again with Carl. Never again with Carl.
Crazy Carl.
Can't trust Carl.
Nah.
Hot Carl.
So George, I called George. Come over and stain my fence, right? But like, then you're managing people too. Like managing people or managing money. It's like, I don't know. I think you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's like a catch-22, you know? Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe not. You just got to try to help people, I suppose, with whatever it is that you're trying to do. It'll at least give you some self-esteem in the process.
Yeah. A friend of mine put it, life is like swimming. That the moment you think that you don't have to swim anymore, you're going to sink. Mm-hmm. All your life, regardless of your scenario, regardless of where you're at in life, how many things you have, how much money, resources, all that, you still have to swim.
Yeah.
And so you better figure out a stroke that's comfortable that you can keep going for the rest of your life, because you're not going to start floating all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You're just constantly swimming.
Maybe that's why I just don't have that much drive, because I can float for days.
You got such great buoyancy.
I can fall asleep in a pool.
No
Steve's
way you can fall.
100%.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You're just
I'm
buoyant
falling
like that,
asleep in a
dude?
sleep tank.
Well, that's your stroke, dog.
My stroke is just floating like a giant turd through life.
No.
I'm out. I'm out.
I'm out.
I wish I could float. Jules sinks like a goddamn
Sinks hard, dude. Sink hard. But I can hold my breath for a long time, so I'm good, dude. I'm good.
Dude, I did a Wim Hof this morning.
So did I.
2.5 minutes.
Nice,
That's
man.
amazing.
I was pretty amped on it.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, that's great, man.
How
awesome.
long you think you could hold your breath right now, Jules?
I did the same thing this morning. I mean, it ebbs and flows. Some mornings are better than other mornings. When I'm doing it more often, it's better, obviously, because I'm practicing it. But I think I've gotten like pretty close to the 3-minute mark before. Not right now. Like this morning, I think I was at like 1 minute and 45 seconds or something like that. Sometimes it's like 45 seconds and I'm like, oh my God. Oh God. It's like, what's going on? Is there something wrong with me right now?
I noticed
strange.
that when I'm laying down, for anybody who's listening that doesn't know what we're talking about, there's a breathing exercise that I'm sure people have passed it down for generations, but the guy that we learned it from is this guy, Wim Hof.
How old's the guy Wim Hof?
Oh, that's a good question. Is he probably in his 70s now?
70s, so presumably like 3 generations, 4 generations.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is there's versions.
I'm just giving you shit.
There's
62.
versions of this breathing. Like I think in the yogi universe, it's like breath of fire, kind of the same.
Right.
Like there's a
Same
bunch of
principle.
Exactly.
Practice.
Which is like overloading your body with oxygen. But essentially you breathe in through your nose, deep breath 30 times in a row. Then you breathe it all out and you hold your breath for as long as you can. But it's typically you land like around 1 minute 30 is what they say you should try to land on. But sometimes you can get to like 2 minutes. I've got on so you do that and then you repeat it 3 times. And on the 3rd time, like I swear to God, you feel high.
Yeah.
You breathe it all out and you're like floating.
Face gets all tingly.
And then you do on the 3rd one too. What's fun to do as well, you breathe it all out and then do as many push-ups as you can. And when you finish like 25, 30 push-ups, all with no air in your body. It's crazy that you can do even 3 push-ups.
Yeah.
Oh, you finish that and you feel like you can piss lightning.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you wake up in the morning, or I do it before singing, I can go a minute, 30, no problem. Other times, yeah, like 30 seconds in, I'm like, I'm going to pass out.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. I noticed that laying down helps. If like, because I used to just do it sitting upright,
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I
like
do.
kind of concentrating like this. When I lay down flat and kind of prop my head up, I can usually always hit like $130, $145.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice, man. I've realized more and more, man, that like my whatever is hindering me in my day-to-day life is typically a direct result of my inaction of like the things that I know help, which are like the tools, like doing the morning breathing exercise and journaling and taking a cold shower, like these things. It's like, oh, I asked myself, like, have you been doing these things? I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling stressed. Have you been doing these things? No, but like, it doesn't matter. And then I do them. Like I've been doing them for the past couple of days, and I've been feeling good.
Yeah, and you're off the sauce too, right, Jules?
Yeah. And in fact, and I don't care, but whatever, it is what it is. I actually went to my first AA meeting last night, dude.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Which was so interesting.
Did you go by yourself?
No, I went with a friend who's been like trying to like get me to go for a long time. And he's like, bro, you don't need to like define what you are or what you are not, like by any means. Like, you know, I felt really weird because I actually wanted to speak and just like share, because they give everybody like that
doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, no way.
but everybody that does, like, they start out by saying like, you know, hi, I'm this person, I'm an alcoholic, and I'm having like an interesting time kind of defining what it is that I am. If like, I suppose I can easily admit to being an alcoholic, but like, I want to believe it. I want to like buy into that if I'm going to say it. Especially in a room full of people who do believe it themselves. So it was an interesting experience, man. Like, you know, I wasn't like, I don't know, it didn't like change my life or resonate super hard or do anything that like I kind of didn't expect it to do. It was just kind of like a cool, like, and my friend's really encouraging me to just like keep going back, not because I'm tempted by drinking by any means at all. In fact, more so because he's like, this is just a way, this is just another type of like morning routine situation. Like, it's just going to help you be a better person. And if you practice these like steps that like, they're so stigmatized, you know, like the Alcoholics Anonymous, any type of anonymous program has this stigma behind it. That's just like, oh my God, you must be like really bad. And it's just like, I don't know. I spent like the better part of 3 years not drinking at all on my own accord. You know, I didn't have to have any program help me. And I think I don't know. It was cool, man. It was an interesting experience. And I don't know how to really define any of that stuff for myself. But I think anybody who's, you know, considering it and having like issues with themselves and, you know, trouble with addiction or anything like that, they should certainly go out and try. Because one thing I did realize was that like those people are so welcoming and so kind and so like encouraging of like the positive growth of their community. Without question, like that was something that I really did take away. I was like, wow, man, these people like just are like, it's such a complete judgment-free zone, which like more so than a place I've ever been. And I think that's really cool. So we'll see, man. We'll see if I keep going or not. I'm kind of feeling.
What is anonymous about it? Because don't you stand up and go, "Hi, I'm Julian.
You're not supposed to tell people like. I'm not supposed to
go on a public. I'm not supposed to go on a public podcast and talk about how I went to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, like you're not.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I mean, like, you're just not supposed to like give the details of like other people's stories.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know,
you're allowed to be. You're allowed to be anonymous in how you feel.
Right.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be a confidential space where you don't go outside and like talk about that.
Within the group, it's not anonymous, right? Like you don't go up and make up your own name when you share. Right? Like with
theory, but
like I guess I don't know enough about it.
Within the Alcoholics Anonymous class, what is it called? Seminar, I guess. Session.
Meeting,
yeah.
Are you guys sharing your like actual names and details and information?
Well,
yeah. So
like
that's
from the way
safe
space.
So look, this was like my first time ever going, and honestly, like, and I don't want to like reduce it to whatever my own opinion of it is right now by saying anything, because I think it really works for the people that are a part of it and doing great things. But from my very limited understanding of what it was, and also like my interest coming from a place of like wanting to learn and like expand my understanding of people, honestly, and like knowing myself a little bit more and just experiencing new things. The people, like there will be one person who from again my limited experience who will speak in the beginning for like 20-25 minutes and share their story of like their sobriety journey, and they've been like pre-selected, and then after that person speaks, they go through some like housekeeping things, it seemed like, and then from there they open up the floor to have like people speak for just like a few minutes, and they have them on like a timer, and they give them like 3 or 4 minutes, and people just kind of say how they've been doing, like they say they have like an anniversary or of sobriety, or like how many days it's been for them. And it's interesting, man. It's interesting to see people vulnerable like that, like to see people who like wouldn't typically be open enough to speak publicly, who feel like compelled to like have to in those moments, and to share, who are very like closed, and people even say stuff like that, and it's beautiful, man. It was really cool. And you're not, I don't know, I again wasn't like so moved that I felt like, oh man, I got to keep coming back to this because this is going to save my life. But ultimately, I think if you keep going and you keep practicing the tools that are offered through it, it's just another way for you to kind of grow and get better. And I'm interested in that for sure.
Cool.
So
how's the craft services?
Oh, dude, it's fucking
they have some
on point, dude. We had PF Chang's last night.
Shut up.
No, you didn't.
I'm just joking.
Yes.
Don't give me that broccoli raw bullshit.
It's got some day-old powdered donies in there.
Oh, yeah. No, there was
had some sidewalk chalk.
There was nothing that I saw last night, but I wasn't really like moving around. I felt kind of weird, man. Like I was just like, I'm new. Like I don't know the etiquette of this. I don't know what I'm like doing here. I kind of felt like not necessarily out of place because everybody's so welcoming, but like definitely just kind of like, I don't know. You kind of like when you're in that space for the first time, you kind of question like, do I belong here? Like, should I be here? Like, am I a fraud? Like, sure. So I'm just like, oh fuck. So I wanted to speak, but I didn't want to say, hi, I'm Julian and I'm an alcoholic until I like, could say that truthfully. And then my friend was like, you don't have to say that. Like it's not like required of you to say that when you present yourself. So we'll see, man. We'll see if I go again. Fucking share my Morgan Freeman story of Little Piggies.
I am Julian.
Guys, I don't want to talk about anything really besides the fact that, my friends told me that I should start with the fact that Morgan Freeman played Three Little Piggies on my toes. So
I think the funniest play, and now granted, obviously you shouldn't make light of that sort of scenario, but if you went up and you're like, hey, I'm Julian. 3 weeks ago, I stopped by Burger King. Like, just tell a story that has nothing to do with Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like, so my grandmother, like, she's German, and my father, he's from Poland, and they met at Oktoberfest in 1942, and they moved to Pennsylvania. Like you get 15 minutes and everybody's like, what the fuck is this story about? This has nothing to do with any sort of drinking problem.
No, and if it was
I'm sure certain people,
Poland, they weren't having Oktoberfest.
That's a good point.
I'm sure certain people just by feeling nervous and not knowing what to like, how to speak publicly have fallen into those traps before. But I think like if it were to be intentional, like there's like probably a level of tolerance and intolerance that goes into those sessions and meetings that like those are, you're dealing with some alcoholics, man. They're like as welcoming and as kind as those people are, like they have I'm sure there's a certain group of people that are like, bro, shut the fuck up, get out of here.
Well,
Like, quit talking about that.
That's
You're wasting
part of
our
the
time.
autonomy. That's part of the being anonymous. It's a safe space to be vulnerable and talk about your disease. If you go around telling everybody that this person had this story and this, you're making light of that situation. That's a very serious thing for that person and their disease. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's important.
Yeah.
You know, like you go up there and just make light of someone who's struggling with disease and whatever else is going on in their life. That's
totally
cool.
My friend who I went with was we were leaving afterwards to go grab some dinner when it was hot, and I got Mexican food and was just sweating my ass off the whole time. And he was telling me that there was a bar somewhere in the city out here in New York where they will give you a free drink if you give them your chip, which is like awful. And he was like, I don't know where it is, but like, I seriously want to go like find those people and like beat their ass because like they have no idea what they're doing by doing that.
That's kind of rough.
Yeah. I was just like, fuck that, dude. That's crazy, man. Like, I don't know.
Are we talking like top shelf?
Top shelf.
Or are we talking like in the stuff in the bar?
The well, dude. If they're, yeah, dude. I don't know.
I mean, look, if we're talking like some Casadores, you know, like full tilt.
At that point, they're just
kind of a deal.
At that point, they're just like taking the bar like spillage part and just like drenching it into their gross.
Yum.
Yeah,
in lighter
awful.
news, Heineken sent me my own one of those. It says Al's Bar.
I saw that.
Oh,
That's
really?
awesome.
Yeah,
Cool,
baby.
man.
Yeah.
That is
Heineken,
cool.
dude, they're coming in for the clutch win, bro. Like,
We're getting all kinds of goodies.
we partnered. What was it? 8-9 months ago. They're still sending me like a
That
bunch
was a big box of shit.
big box. I got a jacket, Heineken, my name on it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Nice,
tight,
dude.
dude.
Are they still? Is it still 0?
No, it doesn't say 0. It's just Heineken.
That's nice.
I must be in some sort of system. Like, hey, this is the guy.
He's on like the Christmas card list.
Some sort of
I don't know why
system.
they sent me the box either. So they were like, it's award season.
Yeah,
And I was like, well, this motherfucker ain't getting no awards. We all know. And maybe that's why they sent
Wear
you
your
as
Heineken
like
jacket to the Grammys.
Yeah, just like a condolence package. They're like,
maybe.
we realize you didn't get nominated for anything.
Your time is
some
coming.
glow in the dark star decals.
Your time's coming, dude. Your time's coming.
Oh yeah, baby, my time's coming, baby. I'm
You're gonna
ready.
get a Grammy. You're gonna get a Grammy,
I'm just trying to figure out what car I'm going to rent for
dude.
my approach to the Grammys.
Sprinter.
Bro, no questions
Roll up in your
asked,
Sprinter.
man.
Oh yuck.
We got to go back. We got to go back and
though.
get my 1992 Toyota Camry that the engine blew up in front of Capitol Records when you got off to sign your first deal.
You ever heard that story, Steve?
Go on.
So when I signed with Capitol Records, Julian was living in LA, and this is like during like Sad Boy JP times. There was like a 6-month period where Julian was like just super depressed and like rough to be around.
I was just
Yeah, I
living in
wasn't
LA,
around him.
dude. It was
living in LA, broke, like
yeah,
just like what am I doing? You know,
yeah.
made sense. So anyways, I was like, Jules, I'm signing my record deal, and like I think it'd be hilarious if you drive me there. He had this Toyota Camry that like, bro, broke down every other day. Yeah. It was like
Duct tape together.
somebody had stolen it and like been living out of it and like cooking meth in it, I think.
I didn't get a pink slip and didn't know that until I tried to sell it, and then I had a really bad time trying to do that.
Yeah, and then I was like, I think it'd be funny for you to like drop me off at Capitol Records in this like beat up, nasty, 4 different colors Toyota Camry, and I'm gonna go sign like a major. You know, that's a goal in life, right?
Yeah.
It was
major
like
label.
It was like when we first got a tour bus. That was like, I made it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Made it.
I'm
Yeah.
done. Like that was like my goal when I first started playing music. It was like, if I could just do a tour in a tour bus that I could afford to rent,
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah, totally.
Nobody can tell me nothing.
Win.
And then when I get back, they're just like, oh yeah, you're broke.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. Hey, as your business manager, I'm telling you, get back on the road. So Jules, bless his heart, drives me to Capitol Records, and I go upstairs. I'm like, okay, Jules, wish me luck, man. Boop, 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 do, 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 do.
We couldn't be more contrasted in our lifestyles at that moment.
Yeah. And Jules like, good luck, man. He's pumped, right? You were stoked for me that much. I
was
went
stoked
upstairs. I signed the deal. Like, I have chest bumping everybody, dude. I come back downstairs and there's a tow truck and Julian's Camry is hooked to the back of it, and he's sitting on the curb with his head in his hands. Like, Jules, what happened, dude? He's like, my engine blew up, and one time in 7th grade, I pushed my sister Edie down the stairs.
And landed on the dog.
That was real. It's fun
Trials
to look back on that and laugh,
tribulations.
but in the moment, I was like, oh. It's like, look, dude, I got some chips now. I'll go buy. Let me take you to Shake Shack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Alan was like rolled a red carpet out for her, and like as he entered the building, the engine just like caught flame, like there, right at like, the entrance. I couldn't even move the car away. I was sitting out. He was upstairs, like signing contracts and just fucking drinking champagne with all of his new friends, and I was sitting down just crying my eyes out, trying to like not look like a complete asshole while everybody for like 30 minutes. I was just like, I'm gonna call my mom, just like, I don't like LA, Mom. I'm not busy and it's an actor.
This is also
anymore.
like this is long before Venmo too, so he couldn't like call. I needed $100 for a tow. It's like remember before Venmo, and it was like literally such a task to like get money from other people.
Totally.
He's like, I gotta go to the bank. That's gonna take a half hour. I gotta get I gotta get my bank card. And then I gotta drive
get your like account and routing number and like make a deposit slip for you.
PIN?
Right. Yeah. Splitting checks.
You know, thanks.
It's like, who wants the airline points? I'll pay you back later. Full circle though. Pay me my money.
I am going
We
to.
live in the age of Venmo.
I'm gonna pay your money, and then I'm just gonna send you a picture of Ricky's taint.
Gah.
Yeah,
It'll be clean though.
it will be spick and span.
Spick and span. Yeah, that was a.
This has been great. I love this. I love this new setup having Stevie-Baby.
I'm
in the
miserable.
Room. It's happening from here on out. And Jules, get your tailpipe back here to Spokane so we can all be in the same room together and enjoy some piano.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
We're gonna eat this one out. You just tell the folks what they can expect next week.
Can you guys at least describe what the taste is in like the most highfalutin way possible?
I would give it a 6 out of 10 for mouthfeel.
Like the
It'd be better warm.
It'd be better.
Oh yeah.
I do like the fresh, crispy onions.
I added that.
Explosions.
The consistency in your mouth is kind of like is just fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful.
Nice.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm gonna be there soon, and we're gonna be getting this potty on the How Good's This Chambers of Commerce. So get yourselves ready because we're coming in hot.
Can't wait.
How good's this, guys?
How good's this?
How good's this?
Love you guys.
Love you too, baby.
I love Morgan Freeman too.
I do too. Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Oh, boo-boo, did you just make it to the end of the video? Yes, you did. Do you want to see more videos just like this one? Do you?
Well, then head over to patreon.com/Live at the Lodge, where you can support the How Good's This podcast, as well as the entire Live at the Lodge family.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to get exclusive merch, personalized shout-out videos. Me and Jules, we're going to show up at your house and baptize your nephew, huh? Check it out, patreon.com/Live at the Lodge.